Hey, everybody. Hey, it's Lori here at Voice in the Dark, and it's story time. And we all know that story time is usually something that we're going to address that's personal and sensitive that we need to understand, though. And so we're going to make this you know, I'll tell you what I've been through and how I got through it, and it'll give you a little help, hopefully, for your future when you're ready to start going down that avenue of getting healthy, truly healthy, mentally, emotionally. And I guess the biggest thing I want to explain right now is that narcissist and all those titles, those boxes that we're putting people in that sometimes don't fit. And I think that we need to draw away from that because either they can be healed and they need to go seek out their own, trouble and stuff. But I don't want you to have the stigma of being owned by that negative personality that, gave you all that shit. That's all it really is a bunch of shit. It's an insecure person who has found a way to make themselves feel high and mighty. And, usually the person that's an empath, usually someone that's very sensitive, becomes the victim. And I don't want you to be a victim anymore. I want you to see them as a human being with problems. I guess that's where I'm going with this. Because otherwise it's always like a nightmare's out there, and it's not. Could be. In some cases, maybe. But most cases, not. And because usually they're out finding somebody else that they can do the same thing to. So let's forget giving titles to these incidences in our lives. Let's call it for what it is. We had people in our lives that could not and would not, even if they could, love us any better than they did because they have issues too. It comes down in families. A lot of it has something to do with booze and drugs, and then a lot of it has to do with abuse. They've been through abuse, so they found a different way to cope with it. It's not right, but that's their way of coping. The smart thing is that you address it as, oh, they have a problem, and I need to step down. I need to step back and away and realize that I'm okay as long as I walk away. Bless them to their highest good. You don't have to bless them to their face or anything, but bless them to their highest good and let them go. And get help for you, because trauma is a mother sucker, whatever. I'm trying to watch my language, but it's not easy on these days like this. I'm having a hell of a week. And, but the triggers are real. The red flags are real. I want everybody out there to know you are worthy. You were worthy before you met them. You're worthy even more now because you survived them. And you need to let yourself know that. And you need to forgive yourself. It's hard. It's really, really hard to forgive yourself. But that's the one I want you to work on today. I want you to be able to look in the mirror and say, you know what? We did it. We fell for it. They were so amazingly perfect in the beginning. And then, once they get you tied down and everything, then it all goes to hell. So, and we take our time leaving because we're stunned and confused, and they keep us confused. They keep us pinned down, and they do it in peculiar ways. It's not obvious. It's not easy to pinpoint. But you know something's wrong. And you need to love yourself enough to cut loose. And if you've cut loose, get help. I'm doing it now. I'm getting help from counseling. And I'm learning everything I can about healing the inner child. There's I'll put it in the details. There's a young guru guy I met on here online, and he's got a real good child one that I think is a good way to start healing your inner child, because that's who gets hurt. You know, a lot of it's from childhood. Some of it is we carry on and attract the same damn thing again and again until we figure out it's a lesson we need to learn, that we're worthy and we are enough. And we have to love ourselves enough to have boundaries and take time to get to know somebody and try to see if we can, you know, find any of those red flags. Not find them, because they'll show up real quick. But you need to be able to see yourself. How many are you burying? How many are, pushing under the rug? So that's what I want you to focus on. The narcissists, some are hopeless. Some of the psychotics and sociopaths are. But if they went and got a hair follicle test and found out what trace mineral they're missing in their diet, they could change their whole lives around. But, they're usually too arrogant and too stubborn because they're so insecure that they've created a image that they can uphold. Well, kind of. They usually have 3 images. The one that they have with their home, it has to look perfect. The job has to look perfect. And then what they do behind doors elsewhere. That's where their real self is, because they don't have the courage to be who and what they really want to be because of society and, what everything looks like. Trying to be, up with the Joneses and all that shit. Which is sad. I feel for them, and I hope the hell that they get to realizing what it is they're doing and that they're really hurting people without realizing it because they're so hurt. But that's not our job. Our job is to walk away. Our job is to heal ourselves and be inspirational for others, that it's possible to heal and it's possible to see ourselves in a new light, the light that, God got us all that is, wanted us to be in, and start being who we really are. It's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's tough. It's a lot of work because you're looking at yourself. Sometimes you got to dig deep to see where those wounds are and face them. We grew up in a society that hid things. Our parents did, our grandparents did, everybody hid everything of what was going on because they didn't know how to deal with it either. And society didn't give you any help at dealing with things. Not in a fashion that made it easier for people to deal with, their dysfunctional families, their dysfunctional lives. And everybody did the best they could with what they had. And but our generation, I know I'm older. I'm in my 60s. So, but I'm getting help because it's worth it. I don't care if I've got 5 years or 1 year or 50. I want to fix and enjoy the rest of my life. So I've been working hard. Now, I would never let anyone know that they hurt me in any way, shape, or form, mentally, emotionally, or physically. Physically was mostly my father. But mental and emotional was my mother and my father. And just quite a few people in life, that I dated that were similar, to my father that I wouldn't get help for. That wasn't allowed in my family for me. And so that was some of their issues. You know, don't let anybody know what's going on. And my mother, God bless her soul, but she's passed away now, so I can talk about this. Plus, my father, he's in a nursing home because he has Alzheimer's now, a form of Alzheimer's. So I feel free that I can talk about these things. They actually happened, and some of it was from past lives for me. I don't know how you believe in that, or if you don't, yay or nay, doesn't matter, but they're real. And it does happen because you can't possibly, and this is what I talked to God about. I said, hey, how am I supposed to experience everything and every emotion there is possible in one lifetime? I mean, my God, I've met a zillion people, and I was only 12 or 13 at the time. And it's off the charts what they think and feel. And everybody came to me with their problems. My mom would ground me sometimes because she'd say, you're taking in too much, let it go. And then, I'd have to throw myself into artwork and stuff like that and sitting out in the yard for, a few days and not have any friends over or talk on the phone. At that time, I didn't know I was an empath. And I'm a strong empath. So luckily, I like to sit out in the yard because, I was constantly grounding myself without realizing it. That's another story. And but the thing is that you just didn't let other people know what was going on. You made everything look good on the outside, and you were told to bury everything else on the inside and don't show it. And I mean, even when I got swats in school, grade school, I really had a principal pissed off at me one year. But I was standing up for my rights. And, I had to pay the price for it. But, he's the one with the attitude, not me. But he kept hitting me. I mean, gave me swats every day, every weekend. He went home and drilled more holes in the paddle because he was trying to get me to cry and admit that he hurt me. And I wouldn't do it. And I never did it with anyone. Ever, until I got this old and finally sat down and said, look, I can't hide this shit no more. I can't live with it anymore. I want to release it. And plus it gives me a pretty good attitude. I'm a little dangerous when I get around people that are like kind of mean. And I'm like, brr. But anyway, so you got to find out how you hit it, why you hit it, what was your deal. Mine was I was never going to allow anyone to know they hurt me. And be tough. And I stood up to all of them. Now, the other thing is, those are sometimes the hardest ones to pull up, but you got to. And it's hard to look back at things that people did to you that hurt you. But the big question is why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you make it clear that you hurt me, that they hurt you? And that's been my hardest thing to get through because, well, it's because I'm stubborn. I'd be damned if I'm going to let them have any glory over the fact that they hurt me. Some people get off on it, but I don't think these people did. But, ex-boyfriends and stuff. Maybe a couple ex-husbands, but, who's counting? And, but anyway, I just was never going to let anybody know they hurt me or scared me or anything. But when you bury that crap and you bury it and bury it and bury it and bury it, because, see, it keeps coming back to you because you ain't dealing with it. So learn to deal with it and let it go. But you really got to do the work, and it's incredibly hard. And then you got to watch everything you think and everything you talk, self-talk and all that. And I have too many years of this crap to go through. And but I am seeing how I self-talk. I talk bad about myself to myself. I'm really hard on myself. And I thought, well, you're not that hard on anybody else. Why would you be that hard on yourself? But we tend to do that. We're harder on ourselves than we are anyone else. And that has to stop. So I'm pushing for stop. Look in the mirror. Say, I love you. And say it again and again. Always say everything in threes at least. And, yeah, or like Tesla, 369, keep on going. But threes is a key. And do it all the time. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. You do have value. And I'm here to tell you, as long as you're taking breath, you have a right to take up space. I don't care how old you are. You have a right to take up space. You have a right to your own opinion. You have a right to your own feelings. And I'm not saying wipe them all over everybody, but I am saying that you're allowed to have them. And you're allowed to have a moment to feel them. And then ask yourself, what possessed me to allow that to happen? And if it wasn't allowing, well, what was it that you needed to clear up to be able to let them know, hey, that hurt my feelings. I don't like that. Most of the time, people apologize to me pretty quick. So, but I still, look, man, that wasn't good. It wasn't cool. But it's the older traumas, and it's usually childhood, unfortunately, that there are issues that we have buried and taken personal. And I want you to know that it wasn't personal. It wasn't about you. It was about them. It was about the things that they have buried. The only way they knew how to do anything was the way they acted. And it's not always to your benefit. And there's usually one child. Sometimes it's all of them. But it's usually one. And the first one, because that's the one they usually blame. But you weren't to blame. I finally got mad at my father. He kept telling me over and over and over for years while my mother was sick. He would come over and just whine for 2 hours. How much his life was screwed up and how much he should have done different. And it was all because of me, because he had me. If I hadn't had you, and I said, excuse me? I finally told him, I said, hey, I didn't fuck her. You did. So, okay, let's get the story straight. Don't make me regret coming here. So, anyway. So, yeah. They make it hard for us to become what we were meant to be. Bright and cheery-eyed and happy. And I managed to stay pretty happy regardless. But there are moments that are defeating. And I wanted to get over the defeating moments. Those moments in my mind where I'm arguing with myself. Because I don't think I can do something because I'm not good enough. I just want everybody out there to know I'm good enough. So are you. And stop using the, labels. That's a better word, labels. Don't give it to them. They don't deserve a label. What they do deserve is someone to, finally say, you might want to get some help. There is help out there for you. And, but we'll find out eventually that all narcissists have the same trace mineral missing in their diet as sociopaths and psychopaths. And, golly gee, all I got to do is take a fucking vitamin, supplement. So anyway, but us, the ones that took the abuse, that's not a pill. And we can't just magically come out of the encasement that was built around us to try to protect us, which is our mind. That has to have love, understanding, and consistent listening to yourself and correcting it. Now, your mind will correct it. I'm telling you now, it will. If you tell it straight up, I don't like that thought about me. It doesn't serve me or work for me anymore. How about this one? And change the perspective on the whole thing. That way, you're taking your life back and your power that you should have been allowed to have all along. But we just aren't a perfect society yet. And that's my next goal. But for now, it's just you and I and, closed doors that says, hey, we've been through some shit, but we're worth doing the work to enjoy ourselves more. And find the things that you love. I do other things on here that are, I talk through them, and I've written stuff. The things that I think about, the Chronicles of Lori, and then there's today's intuition or intention. There's different things on there, but things I think about in the Chronicles of Lori. Chronicles of Lori will deal mostly with spiritual stuff. Things I think about will deal with, just odd and unusual things. And then I have a freedom page, freedom periodical that's for human rights. And I guess just the biggest thing is that don't give them a label and don't you take one. You are not a victim. You were just in an unfortunate situation of two people that did not know how to defend themselves, didn't know how to stand up for themselves, and didn't really understand that they were going to have to. And both people were in pain, and one lashed out, and the other one, and sometimes we both lash out. I've got a pretty good temper. But it still didn't help lashing out. The pain was still there. So just know you're worthy. And, pretty much the New Age gamut has proved that we're a spirit having a physical experience. And it's true. Your spirit is strong, and it's immortal, and it is a direct link to Source. I don't know who your God is or if you have one at all. Doesn't matter. Source is real, and so is your spirit. So learn to meditate. Learn to love yourself. And it's not easy. Loving yourself means you have to set up boundaries. You have to make people respect you, and if they don't like it, you're going to have to accept the fact that they're going to walk away, and that's okay. You didn't need them anyway. And they'll come back when they're missing the love, but don't you let them walk all over you. You're not a doormat for anyone, not even yourself. And get some crystals, do some anything, whether it's yoga, Tai Chi, find something that helps you go inward and pull it forward. And mine's gardening. That's what I like to do. And it's good to ground with your bare feet in the dirt. At least once a day, touch a tree. And the tree will help ground it too. And talk to your trees, talk to your plants, all that, because, they appreciate it. They know they're here to help you, so you be there to help them and let them know you love them. The world would be such a much bigger place and better place if we all learn to respect all life. All life. That means anything that grows. And animal, plant, human, alien, whatever's here. But the earth herself, she is an entity. And she takes kindly, just like the animals do, and the plants, when you at least show some appreciation, concern, and love. And I've got other stuff on that you can look up on my site, that talking to the animals, the spirit nature spirits and stuff like that. And I got a book coming out soon that'll have, the basics of all that in there. But that's what I wanted to say tonight, is that learn to have some presence for yourself. They talk big about this, being in presence with someone, being in the present moment. Well, that's what intimacy is that when you are in the moment with someone else. But it also means when you're in the moment. So that means even in the moment with yourself. So learn to do it. Sit with yourself. Love yourself. Say kind things, because I know during the day when you're busy doing something, you're going to say something smart-ass to yourself, because we all do. And then catch it and say, oh, I don't feel that way anymore. How about we feel it this way? And it's an ongoing job, I'm not going to lie. But it is worth it. And if you pray to your God and the angels or your spirit guides or whoever, they're all out there waiting to help. And they'll help you. And look for the whispers. I call it, when God speaks to us, it's the whispers. He uses other people, he uses music, books, But you'll know when it feels right. And that's the other thing that I want to go into next video, is how to really tune in to what you feel. My first book, Today's Intention, it's 90 days worth of intentions. At the end of every day, I gave a question for you to think about. And it's mostly to focus on, how did you feel about the one thing that you found that, triggered you that day, or the one thing that really made you feel good. Learning to slowly, daily, with something different every day, to get in tune with your feelings, your real feelings, the ones that, not the ones you fake, but the real ones. You're going to find that when you get through the nervousness, because that's what we use, a nervousness and a tightness, to become a little more rigid and protective of ourselves. And once you allow that to dissipate a little bit, each time you allow it to dissipate a little bit, you'll notice your real feelings underneath. And that perhaps the situation that you're in now, or, this person or this whatever it is, isn't really the same as what you thought it was, because you were still coming from that hurt place. So it takes time, but don't make excuses saying, oh, well, I actually feel really good, and they aren't like that, when they really are. Whoever it is. It could be the mailman that you don't like, I don't know, neighbor, grandpa. But whatever it is, don't ignore it, and don't hide it, and don't make excuses for anyone. There are none. And there's none for you either. Not to love yourself, and not to know that you're enough, and to put the effort in to understand that more and more every day. And that's all I got tonight. I love you. Take care. This is Lori at A Voice in the Dark, spiritscrossing.net, and I do not consent. Need to take that up as your motto, too. I do not consent, because the big boys need to understand that. And I'll have something written up about that later on, too. Talk to you later. Bye.